Let's be real, navigating an airport in a language you're not fluent in can feel, well, pretty stressful. It's like the first boss battle of your vacation. But what if you could just breeze through it? In this explainer, we're going to give you the key Spanish phrases to make your whole airport experience, from check-in all the way to touchdown, totally smooth. So let's get your trip started on the right foot. You know that feeling, right? You walk into this huge terminal, all the signs are buzzing, and it's a little overwhelming. It's a super calming travel anxiety. But don't you worry, we're going to break this all down piece by piece so you feel totally prepared and in control. Okay, so you've just arrived, you've got your bags in hand, and the first mission is pretty simple. Find your airline's check-in counter. This is where the adventure really kicks off. So you're scanning all the signs, looking for that familiar logo. But what if you just can't spot it and you need to ask for help? This is probably the very first and most important question you're going to have. Here it is. This is your go-to phrase. Estoy buscando. That's E-S-T-O-B-O-S-K-N-D-O. It just means I'm looking for. All you have to do is tack on the name of your airline at the end. It's simple, it's direct, and it gets you exactly where you need to be. You've found the desk. Awesome. Now for your first real Spanish conversation. The agent is probably going to start with a pretty standard question about your luggage. Let's get you ready for it. They might ask, ¿Cuántas maletas tiene? Which is just, how many suitcases do you have? And if you're traveling light, you can just say, Solo tengo mi equipaje de mano. That's, I only have my carry-on. See? Knowing that one little phrase makes the whole thing a total breeze. And this is the moment you've been working towards. The agent hands you that precious ticket and says, Aquí está su tarjeta de embarque. That's your boarding pass. You are officially checked in and one big step closer to your flight. You've got the golden ticket. All right, next up is security. I know, for a lot of people, this is the most intimidating part. But really, just think of it as a simple, totally predictable dance. Let's walk right through it. You know, what's great is that these steps are pretty much universal. An agent might say, Ponga sus pertenencias en una bandera, which just means place your belongings in a bin. But honestly, the actions are the same everywhere you go. And yep, laptops always get their own bin. You're almost through the scanner, you're so close, but an agent might stop you with one last question. It's usually just to make sure your pockets are empty. So they might ask, ¿Tiene algo en los bolsillos? Or do you have anything in your pockets? You can just pat your pockets and say, Tengo mi cartera, if all you have is your wallet. See? A tiny little bit of Spanish goes such a long way here. And just like that, you've made it through. Hearing buen vuelo, which means have a good flight, is your reward. All you have to do is smile, say gracias, and you're on your way. Okay, you're through security and you're officially in the departure lounge. The final hurdle before you can finally relax is just finding your gate. So your boarding pass says gate 12, but the signs can be a little confusing, right? How do you ask for directions clearly so you know you're headed the right way? It's easy. You can ask, ¿Cómo llego a la puerta 12? How do I get to gate 12? And the response might be something like, Gire a izquierda al final del pasillo, which means turn left at the end of the hall. Seriously, left, right, straight ahead, those basic direction words are your best friend in an airport. And remember, numbers are absolutely key. Even if you don't catch every single word they say, just listening for your gate number, in this case, 12, D-O-S-E-E, 412, is going to point you in the right direction. And hey, for those heart-pounding moments when you look at the screen and realize your flight is already boarding, well, there's a word for that, corre. It means run. Hopefully you won't need it, but it's a pretty fun one to have in your back pocket. You're on the plane. You did it. Now you can finally sit back and relax. But there's still a few little interactions with the cabin crew where a tiny bit of Spanish will make things much, much easier. Okay, first things first, finding your seat. You can ask, ¿Puede ayudarme a encontrar mi asiento? That's just, can you help me find my seat? And the flight attendant might point and say, Su asiento está al fondo del avión, meaning your seat is at the back of the plane. So you're all settled in, you're up in the air, and eventually that wonderful drink cart is going to make its way to you. Here's how to ask for what you want. It really doesn't get much simpler than this one. ¿Tiene café? Is all you need to ask. And of course, you can swap out café for agua, water, or pretty much whatever you'd like. And for the modern traveler, this one is pretty crucial, right? El internet is gratis. The beautiful answer you're hoping to hear is, Sí, hay Wi-Fi gratis. Yes, there is free Wi-Fi. Music to our ears. The flight is coming to an end. The pilot's going to come on the intercom and make those final announcements as you start to descend. You've successfully navigated the entire journey. You've totally made it. Now, listen for this key piece of info. Su equipaje estará en la cinta 12. Once again, hearing that number, 12, D-O-C-E, that's the most important part. Cinta or carrusel both mean carousel, by the way. A lot of times, the crew will also announce the local weather.
La temperatura es 24 grados Celsius.
It's just a nice little touch that helps you prepare for the moment you step off that plane.
And finally, those are the words you've been waiting to hear. Bienvenidos a la Ciudad de México. Welcome to Mexico City, or, wherever your adventure is taking you. You have officially arrived.
So what this all really means is that you're not just a tourist anymore. You're a traveler. You engaged with the language from the very first moment you arrived. You made it through the whole airport with confidence. So the only question left is, where are you going to go first?